Okay, in this section, you are tasked with going shopping, pretend shopping, mind you, for the items that you need for the party. So one of the main things that we're using for this is order of operations, and we're using that by thinking about how we're going to be finding out the approximate amount of what we're purchasing before we actually go to the register. So if you do that, are you going to add the cost of an item to the cost of another item and then multiply by the number of like items? That would look kind of like this. So if we're buying crayons for 50 cents and a Land Before Time coloring book for $3.95, that will equal $4.45. But if we need 10 boxes of crayons, we multiply that $4.45 by 10, we get $44.50. Or are we going to look at it by multiplying the price of an item by the number of like items we purchase and then adding in the cost of the other items? So in that case, we would have a box of crayons is 50 cents. If we need 10 boxes of crayons, we're spending $5. Then we'll add in that cost of the Land Before Time coloring book for $3.95, and we'll end up with $8.95. That's kind of a huge difference. So I don't know about you, but I'm pretty glad that the stores follow the order of operations correctly. So this is an example of why we need to multiply before we add. And we'll go into more detail on that once next week once we get into the mathematics a little bit more after the project's over. So we can also look at sales tax and discounts. I don't know if you thought about the sales tax when you were going shopping for pretend since you didn't actually go to the register. But if you haven't added it in, this will show you how so that you can go back and do that. So in Idaho, we have a 6% sales tax. So in order to find out how much you're going to pay for taxes, you need to multiply the cost of your item by 0.06 or 6% in decimal form. So let's go back to the crayons and coloring book we purchased in the last slide. If we paid $8.95, that would have our sales tax be $8.95 times 0.06 or 54 cents. So we would have to pay 54 cents in taxes. Now we can do the same kind of thing when we're looking at a sale discount. I kind of like these a lot more than sales tax. I don't know about you. But let's say that our coloring book was 15% off. We would turn that 15% into a decimal, which is 0.15, and multiply that by the sales price. So if we had a sales price of $3.95, we multiplied that by our 15%, we would get 59 cents or a 59-cent discount. So when we take that away, we end up realizing that we only have to pay $3.36 for that same coloring book. So you can see sales tax and discounts both work similarly. It's just at the end whether we add the tax amount or subtract the tax amount, discount amount, that changes. If you have any questions on any of this, please feel free to let me know.